Welcome to Moonstone Update. I'm Mark Beshard, the Managing Editor of Moonstone Publications. Here's a look at some of the stories we've covered over the past week, but first please hit the subscribe button and share this video with your friends and colleagues. The FSCA is proposing to make the significant owners of FSPs subject to the requirements of Joint Standard 1 of 2020 relating to honesty, integrity, reporting, and the procedures for assessing fitness and propriety. The significant owners of FSPs, excluding banks, insurers, and collective investment scheme managers, are currently exempt from the joint standard. The FSCA said it has been reassessing the suitability of the exemption. The Council for Medical Schemes has recommended that contribution increases for next year should be limited to 5.7%, in line with the Reserve Bank's projected average inflation rate. The regulator said that in an economic climate characterized by surging inflation and rising interest rates, most medical scheme members could not afford above-inflation increases. However, it acknowledged that some schemes might require above-inflation increases because of unique cost-push factors. The FSCA is taking regulatory action against past and present trustees of the private security sector Provident Fund after concluding its 3-year investigation into the board. The fund had been under scrutiny by the authority for several years, following continuous issues with its management and administration. Among other things, the investigation found that the fund's board consistently deviated from its procurement policy in respect of the appointment of service providers. In his comment on the action taken against the Security Sector Fund, our regular columnist Paul Kruger says that for the first time in his recollection, the FSCA has provided background information about how it approaches matters such as these. The authority detailed its reasons for conducting the investigation, its findings, the regulatory action it took, how the penalties were calculated, and possible further regulatory action. The timeline for the full implementation of national health insurance was years to decades, says Dr. Nicholas Crisp, the Deputy Director General in the Department of Health. Dr. Crisp also said there would be a transition period during which medical schemes would continue to operate in their current form. Asked to be specific about the length of the transition period, he said it depended on how the economy was performing. A Toyota Land Cruiser valued at more than 1.2 million rand found its way into the hands of the general of a Congolese rebel army after a motor dealer's employee falsified documents. The Financial Services Tribunal dismissed the representative's application to have a debarment by the FSCA reconsidered. According to the tribunal, her fraudulent conduct included having her daughter digitally remove the police certification stamps from the identity documents of the people who allegedly applied for vehicle finance. The jury is still out on whether South Africa will avoid being placed on the Financial Action Task Force's grey list next year, and if it is, how much of an impact grey listing will have on the economy and the cost of doing business. If South Africa is grey listed, South Africans with offshore financial interests will face added layers of bureaucracy and inconvenience. It might be wise to initiate international investments and financial matters before February next year to avoid delays and administrative headaches. That's all we have for this week. You can read these stories and many more on our website moonstone.co.za. Until next time, here's wishing you all the best from the team at Moonstone Information Refinery.